Wait, what was that? You haven't heard of Untitled Garbage Game? Well, some of you had. Seriously, guys, thank you for all the support on my first devlog. For those of you who haven't, it is definitely shaping up to be one of the games of all time. Anyways, here's what I've worked on. First, I made some street tiles in Sprite and ported them into Godot with Crocodile. After that, I put them into a mesh library so I could place them in tiles around the map. I then noticed a small, tiny little detail that was off in my textures and decided to change it in Sprite and then re-import the textures. It broke absolutely everything. For some reason, Crocodile compresses textures when you export them, and that was the issue. However, I did not know that at the time, so surely that won't happen again, right? Right? In this grid map, I thought I was going to add some verticality to my map, because, you know, driving games, verticality, that is probably a good thing, right? And I added a ramp. So, you know, this ramp, it's just a ramp, it just goes up, it's a road that goes up, right? That won't have any consequences, right? Okay, I can't figure this out. I'm just gonna remove verticality and let future me deal with that one. Moving on. I use these tiles to make a general look as to what a chunk of a map could look like, just to see if the system would even work and if my game was even fun. And it did, more or less. But one thing's missing. One thing is missing. Verticality. Uh-oh. Alright, thanks past me. After banging my head against the wall for multiple hours, kinda like this. I fixed it. Okay, here's what's happening. Suspension should only work in one direction, right? The Y direction on the car. For some reason, I was calculating it in multiple directions. This is making the suspension act all wonky when going up a ramp, because the suspension was acting against the world itself instead of against the car. So I changed this one variable to a float, which is just a number that acts in one direction, in this case the Y direction, instead of a vector 3, which is 3 numbers, basically a coordinate system that works in all 3 directions. That was applying force to the truck in multiple directions. So, stupid mistake. Anyways, now I can add verticality. I then designed a general map plan and put it into the game engine using the grid map of the road tiles that I've created earlier. And decently easily, we had the terrain of a map with absolutely no bugs. Once I had this down, the game actually started to look playable, and an image in my head was slowly starting to come together. Okay, if y'all haven't guessed it yet, I'm figuring this out as I go, and I am mostly clueless. One thing that I have learned is that Crocodile is just not sustainable long term, and as it does still have some use cases, I need to migrate most of my detailed assets to be made in Blender, using the plugin Spritile in Pre-Bambase, and other plugins here and there, just to make the pixel art easier and the texturing easier. Anyways, I now needed to start blocking out the map to know what buildings I needed to create and figure out if the style of map would even work. And it works. Mostly. It'll still need some tweaking in the future, but this is just a good general direction to head in, and the game is starting to come together more, which is great. And just like that, we have even more of a prototype with a map and can definitely start expanding on this idea and figuring out even more and more. By the way, my girlfriend, who's an architect, made me some really cool building textures that I'll have to feature in the next devlog, but here's a sneak peek. End of devlog, now for some rambling. I really appreciate y'all's support on the last devlog. I appreciate it. I'm probably going to make a Discord and eventually get a demo out. So yeah, if you want to join that, I'll put like progress and stuff, and maybe start a little community. I think that'd be pretty neat. But thank you for your time. I really appreciate it. Even you clicking on this video means a lot. I hope you have a great rest of your day, and yeah, I'll see you in the next one.